You know how some mornings hum with a quiet charge, like the air is nudging you pay attention? That was Olivia Ward's morning. She arrived 30 minutes early because first impressions matter, especially when the job you want lives behind glass walls and skyline views, with a name pressed into the lobby floor like a seal: Cross and Devlin. One of those names people whisper with a chill in their voice, the kind that shows up in headlines when companies rise or fall. Her shoes clicked on marble. Her heart did that hopeful stutter it does when a life might finally pivot. Her resume was neat and real, not perfect honest. 3 years juggling 2 part-time jobs, night classes for an executive administration certificate, volunteer scheduling at a community clinic, and a past that didn't need dressing up. Small-town girl, single mom, bills that didn't care about dreams. The receptionist offered a professional smile. "You're Olivia?" "Yes." She tried not to fuss with the navy blazer she'd ironed twice. "For the executive assistant role. Take a seat. They'll call you up." The waiting area was museum-level, tasteful moss-green chairs, a low marble table, architecture magazines fanned just so. Floor-to-ceiling windows cradled the city like a secret. Olivia sat, palms flat on her knees, breathing slow. "Be present," she reminded herself. "Don't oversell. Don't undersell. Be the person who can hold chaos in one hand and kindness in the other." That was her gift, her niche. Not niche the way marketing gurus debate it, but the small, ordinary kind. See people as more than the moment they're in, and quietly get things done. The elevator doors sighed open. People turned. The receptionist stood without thinking. Attention rippled through the lobby like wind through tall grass. A man in a wheelchair rolled forward in a suit that didn't announce itself so much as assume the room. Dark hair, close-cropped. Not old, but time seemed personally interested in him. Nathaniel Cross. The name moved in soft darts. Founder, leadership panels, and midnight rumors. Olivia had only seen photos on stage, hand open as if weighing the air. In every image, he stood. In every image, he walked. You don't expect the gods of a place to arrive sitting down. The chair rolled with a gentle rhythm. The man behind it, Marcus, if lobby lore was right, moved like a tide. Bodyguard caution wrapped in a friend's ease. No cast, no brace. Just the chair, the stillness, and a face that refused to be read. Olivia looked, then deliberately didn't look away. She'd grown up watching people glance off her mother's tired face, polite and distant, as if compassion charged a fee. Years ago she'd decided her kindness would be specific, not performative. See people, meet the moment. The front wheel caught on the edge of the lobby rug, folding it into a stubborn lip. Marcus adjusted rug refused. Olivia was already moving. "May I?" Marcus half turned, surprised, then yielded. She crouched, slipped her fingers under the rug, and smoothed it flat, no fuss, no commentary. A quick, specific fix. "Thank you," Nathaniel said, relief shaped like efficiency. "You're welcome." A small smile. "Hazards shouldn't win." Marcus's mouth twitched. Nathaniel dipped his chin and rolled on. He didn't look back. Olivia sat again, exhaling a smile she hadn't noticed holding. "Don't make it a story," she told herself. "You fixed a rug." Still, in that pocket of her chest where nerves fluttered, a steadier note settled. "Miss Ward?" the receptionist called. "They're ready upstairs." Upstairs smelled like lemon polish and confidence. Elena from HR met Olivia with gliding warmth and ushered her into a glass-bright conference room. The city glittered, all steel and promises. 3 people waited. Elena took the side. At the head, a late-30s man with a loosened tie and charm that arrived half a second before he did, Blake Morgan, COO. His smile wore calculation like cologne. Across from him, a woman whose poise felt final, like a door that closes without a sound, Amelia Cross, head of strategy. The surname landed like a low bell. Blake's voice had that practiced informality. "Miss Ward, I'll be direct. This isn't calendar and coffee. It's the spinal cord for a human edge case. We move fast. If it were a simple niche, air quotes, amused, we'd hire from the usual pool. It isn't. I understand, Olivia said, hands still in her lap, the stillness of someone who refuses to be moved like furniture. Amelia's tone was precise. Tell us about the hardest schedule you've built. Olivia kept it true. Flu season at the clinic, calendars turned to war maps, buffers wedged into tight places so no one's humanity became a rounding error. Color codes that weren't pretty, but worked at a glance. The day 3 volunteers called in and she ran intake, phones, and front desk with a smile belonging to a kinder world than the one she was in. Not heroism, preparation. Compassion is lovely, Blake said. Our investors don't pay for lovely. They pay for durability, Olivia answered gently. Compassion is a system for human unpredictability. It's not decoration, it's how things stay standing. Amelia's brows rose a millimeter. Blake drummed the table. Suppose Mr. Cross's morning changes 6 times before 9 a.m. Your first 10 moves. Olivia didn't rush. 1. Reorder by consequence. Not convenience, reduce harm. 2. Mark what's immovable. Court, regulators, statutory clocks. 3. Keep a single source of truth, no shadow calendars. 4. Call Marcus physical logistics are reality. 5. Pre-write 3 apology scripts, cold, warm, neutral. 6. Protect 10 minutes each hour for thinking, no brains, no strategy. 7. Watch the body water, food, breaks. 8. Buffer the politically sensitive meetings. 9. Find one quick win in the next hour. 10. Log everything so chaos becomes a teacher. The room held a small, agreeing quiet. We also test discretion, Blake said. Can you keep a secret? I can keep context, Olivia replied. Secrets rot. Context preserves. He blinked. Explain. People lie from shame or strategy. Shame goes toxic in the dark. Strategy can be legitimate, but not at the cost of integrity. With context, I can protect the whole without degrading the parts. Without it, I'm just moving blindfolds. A knock. The door opened. The room reoriented like iron filings to a magnet. Nathaniel Cross rolled in, Marcus behind. Up close, his presence worked like weather, not architecture. His gaze moved runway precise. Blake, Elena, Amelia, a beat longer than Olivia, like the question mark had a name and it was hers. Mr. Cross, Amelia said. Amelia, a nod, sibling shorthand. Mr. Morgan, aye. Heavy tank. Morning, Blake purred. Nathaniel's attention inventoried Olivia posture, yes. Breathing, no. Hands, maybe. Miss Ward, tell me one thing you did this morning that wasn't for you. A lobby rug caught your chair, she said. I flattened it. Why? Momentum is a currency. Petty friction is a tax. He studied her a fraction, then, we test people here, not to break them, to know where they bend. Everyone breaks somewhere, Olivia said. The question is whether the system catches the break or hides it. He didn't give away agreement. He signaled Marcus, who handed over a folder, a blueprint of chaos, a redlined mock schedule with purposeful contradictions. The company's stress map. We're short-staffed, Nathaniel said. If you're game, we'll do a live run. An hour. Now? Blake performed surprise. Now. What are my tools? Olivia asked. Whatever you ask for, Amelia said. Within reason. A rolling cart, Olivia said. Open shelves, whiteboard on the side, a mobile HQ. To Marcus, if you'll work with me. I'm in, he said. Elena, real phone numbers, tone judgment your call. Elena nodded. Seen. To you, she told Blake softly. I may borrow your face for 2 minutes at 10:20 if a call needs someone above my pay grade to nod. He smirked. We'll see. And you, she told Nathaniel, permission to interrupt once if I see a veto-level harm you might miss. He wanted the no he too for. Once, he said. Use it well. The cart arrived. Olivia slipped off her blazer, drew a spine on the whiteboard labeled Now, with ribs, REG, NV, SUP, Health, Margin. At the top box, Truth, no shadow calendars. The hour played out like a tightrope. Regulator half early, half late. Investor's assistant pre-negotiating respect. Supplier calling from a floor where a machine had died at dawn. Olivia didn't fill silence with cleverness. She made a space where facts could stand. She placed a plain protein bar at the door. On the threshold, it became a decision, not furniture. She used her one interrupt when Nathaniel's exhaustion leaned toward a yes that would mortgage reputation for 2 weeks of calm. "Wait," she said, and the room froze. "They want a retreat disguised as strategy. Name the truth now, and buy trust." His jaw set. Then he breathed, eyes on the company, like it was a person he refused to cheapen. "We won't do that," he said into the call. "Clean. Oxygen." At 59 minutes, the whiteboard was messy the way living systems are. Nathaniel's hands had unlaced, half a protein bar gone. The floor outside hummed at a steadier pitch, not slower, just more honest. He studied her. "Miss Ward," he said, "we'll need another hour." End quote. Olivia lifted her chin a millimeter. "Then we do another hour." The second hour didn't announce itself. It just slid in, quiet and decisive, the way a new chapter starts with the same typeface but a different kind of breath. "Reset," Olivia said, not loud, not bossy. Just the word you use when you've decided the room needs a new center of gravity. She scrubbed the whiteboard spine clean and drew a new one an inch to the right, a subtle reminder that momentum belongs to those who move it. Marcus checked his watch. Then the halls. "Regulator's team is still lingering." "Good," Olivia said. "Lingering is leverage disguised as courtesy." She scribbled, "Linger equals lever" in the corner, and boxed it. "If they're not leaving, it means something they need isn't done." "They need to feel in control," Amelia said, reading the board like a chess clock. "But not so in control they feel responsible for outcomes." Olivia nodded. "So we script them a win that costs us nothing and buys us time." She drafted a 2-sentence note, the kind that arrives as if it had always existed. "Appreciate you moving fast on the docket. To help both our teams stay clean, we'll send a written summary of commitments by EOD with a single owner attached." She slid the tablet to Elena. "Name the owner as Office of the CEO, not a person yet. It gives us flexibility." Elena's eyes flicked with respect. "On it." He had to scribe. Blake leaned back, hands behind his head, like a magazine profile shot. "You have the polish down," he said. "I'm waiting to see the edge." "The edge is knowing who actually moves the world in a room," Olivia replied. "Half the time, it's not the title." Marcus huffed a small laugh. "Truth." The phone on the cart buzzed an internal line. An assistant 2 floors down, voice tight and trying not to sound it. "Hi, this is Anya with procurement. Mr. Morgan asked for the supplier we flagged last quarter to be back on the preferred list. Legal's twitching. Can someone clarify?" Blake's smile did a quiet, defensive recalculation. "Did I?" Olivia didn't look at him. She could feel power stiffen when it thought it was being cornered. "Anya, thank you for the heads up," she said warmly. "2 things. 1. Please keep the flag on until you hear otherwise from the office of the CEO. 2. Can you email me the exact language of the original risk note and who signed it?" "I can." A breath that sounded like a person being seen. "Thanks." She hung up. Only then did she meet Blake's eyes. Not hostile, not deferential. "If we bring them back, we need to own the delta." What changed? If the answer is, "We're tired and desperate," that's not a change, just a mood. He considered bristling, then chose to smile. "Fair. I ain't accessed as self too harj." Nathaniel had been quiet, watching like a pilot listening to the plane itself. Now, he said, "What did the rug tell you?" It took Olivia a half-second to catch up. Then she smiled. "That people will build a palace and forget where the wheels hit it." He didn't smile back exactly, but his eyes did a flicker that felt like weather improving. "Proceed." The supplier crisis deepened. An upstream component had failed inspections at 3 plants, and the 4th was due in a week. If they didn't replace the part or reroute production, Cross and Devlin would miss a commit to a client who didn't tolerate missing. "Options," Amelia said, already opening a deck that contained 10% more certainty than the situation deserved. 3, Olivia said, holding up fingers. Replace, reroute, or renegotiate the commit. Replacing takes 6 weeks, Marcus said. Rerouting costs more cash than we can light on fire this quarter. Renegotiating, he glanced at Nathaniel, is not the brand. Olivia drew 3 boxes and labeled them money, time, trust. We can only spend 2. She X'd through trust last. Not this. Then reroute, Blake said. We take the hit. We soften the hit, Olivia corrected. 2 levers. 1, speed up internal approvals so cash moves without molasses. 2, find a partner who wants to trade a favor. What do we have someone else desperately needs? Certainty, Amelia said. Our ops team has it. Most companies pretend. So we barter truth, Olivia said. We give a smaller client something we know we can deliver early. In exchange, they unlock capacity with their supplier for us at cruelty speed. Blake whistled softly. Cruelty speed. I might steal that. Don't, Marcus muttered. She'll charge you. Nathaniel's gaze didn't leave the board. Make the call. Pick the partner. Olivia didn't choose the obvious. Obvious partners are already crowded with takers. She picked a mid-tier vendor the company had treated well, but never dazzled. They did no cross and devil in anything, and that was precisely why a graceful ask could feel like a privilege, not a tax. She dialed. A woman named Priya picked up, voice bright and busy. Olivia matched her tempo without mimicking it. Priya, it's Olivia from the office of the CEO. I have a question that respects your time and doesn't make a mess. Sold, Priya said, amused. Go. We hit a component snag. We can fix it, but the fastest path involves capacity we don't own. Here's what I can promise. If you can unlock a short-notice slot with Greenwell for a retool they still like you better than they like us, we'll give you a deliverable you can bank a quarter on. No drama. We'll put it in writing with a penalty that hurts us more than you. If we miss, silence. Not hesitation, calculation. What's the deliverable? Priya asked. A month early on the diagnostics rollout your CTO stopped believing in? Priya laughed. He stopped believing in everything. He needs a miracle. Give me the door, Olivia said. We'll bring the miracle. Priya exhaled. I can't promise Greenwell. I can make them answer the phone in under an hour, and I want the penalty clause you offered. In writing. You'll have it by EOD, Olivia said. And my cell if anything tilts. Fine. I'm calling now. Olivia hung up and wrote, Priya equals door beside trust. We borrow certainty from the future and spend it carefully. Spend it recklessly, Blake corrected, amused. I admit, I like the pulse of this. Pulse is fine, Amelia said. Arrhythmia is not. Beyond the glass, the regulators team finally left. Elena returned with receipts, answers from the aide, timestamps, and a detail that mattered, a whisper that the regulator's boss had a personal history with Nathaniel. Not scandal, not romance. A grant years ago, a foundation dinner, a speech that had landed with a strange private accuracy. Leverage, Blake said, eyes lighting up. No, Nathaniel said, so quietly the word was a locked door. Context. Olivia didn't ask for the story. If he wanted to bring it into the room, he would. Instead, she wrote, Context is not equal to currency, and underlined it twice. We keep it in the map, she said, not the script. She turned to Marcus. Walk me through noon physically. Which route keeps us from the elevator jam and avoids the hallway with the potted jungle that eats wheel space? Marcus grinned. You noticed the jungle. I nearly became compost, she said. So route? He mapped it with a finger on the table. Side corridor. Service lift. Back entrance to Conference B. Security will grumble. That's their cardio, Olivia said. I'll send a love note. As comes. She did clear, respectful, one sentence. For the next 2 hours, we'll be using the service corridor to keep a critical schedule clean. Appreciate your eyes. Security didn't need groveling. They needed to be treated like part of the system, not obstacles to finesse. "Miss Ward," Nathaniel said, as the clock slid toward the investor call, "why are you here?" Olivia blinked. The question landed differently than it sounded. Not why this job, not why this company, why here this room, this hour, this ridiculous cart with a protein bar lid peeling back like a broken promise. She spoke without decoration. "Because I'm good at this. Because my life taught me to make systems that catch people instead of crushing them. Because my son asks me if grown-ups have someone who looks after them at work, and I want to be able to say yes." The room rearranged around that last line. Blake's smirk softened into something almost human. Amelia's pen paused. Marcus looked like he'd just placed a puzzle piece he hadn't known was missing. Nathaniel's face didn't move, but the weather inside it did. "What's his name?" Amelia asked, surprisingly gentle. "Evan," Olivia said. "He's 8. He thinks I run the city buses because I explained transfer times to him once with a map." Nathaniel's mouth admitted the smallest curve. A whole biography might have lived inside that half-smile, some life before the chair and a life after it, or maybe a refusal to split his life into before and after it all. The investor call landed. The firm's partner led with charm lacquered over a spreadsheet's cold blood. "Nathaniel, we're excited truly, but the market is nervous, and nervous money wants warmer blankets." "Of course," Nathaniel said. Olivia held up the word truth on a sticky note like a silent prompter, not to bully him, to steady the room. "We're not going to buy calm with confusion," Nathaniel said. "We're going to buy it with clarity." The partner hesitated. "And clarity looks like—" "It is night." "3 things," Amelia said, slipping into the pocket without stepping on his voice. 1. The exact scope of the reroute. 2. The cost we'll eat now so we don't eat it later. 3. What we won't do, and we'll say it out loud." "Won't do?" the partner echoed, wary. "We won't spin," Nathaniel said. "If we miss a number by changing nothing, we'll have missed both the number and the chance to be credible." Silence. Then the partner chuckled softly, like a dog catching the scent of a true thing. "All right," he said. "Send the revised path. No surprises unless they're good." When the call ended, Blake let out a showy breath. "You realize if we had faked it, we could have bought a week, and of Piri of 8. And sold a year," Olivia said. Marcus's phone buzzed. He checked it, then lifted a thumb. "Priya got Greenwell to pick up. They're slotting a review, 90 minutes. "Send me the doc pack," Amelia said, already in motion. "On it," Elena said. The room had found a rhythm. The cart, the board, the phones, it all hummed like a small, stubborn engine teaching a larger machine to stop lying to itself. That was when Olivia noticed something she hadn't caught, before a micro pause in Nathaniel's hands when he reached for the tablet. Not weakness, not pain, exactly. A delay, like a person recalibrating a movement they used to trust without thinking. She stepped closer, voice low enough to be private. "Would you like the tablet mounted?" He looked up, unoffended. "Yes." She anchored it to the cart with a swivel arm she'd fished from a supply closet in the last 5 minutes. Olivia had a talent for producing exactly the thing people assumed wasn't in the building. She adjusted it to his eye line. "Tell me if the angle fights you." "It doesn't," he said. Then, after a beat that sounded like permission, "Thank you." "Momentum is a currency," she said quietly. "We guard yours." It was almost nothing, the smallest exchange, and yet it moved the air. Blake stood, stretching. "I have a 12, he said. "Ping me if you need the face." "Thank you for watching, Foreman." "We'll ping if we need the listening," Olivia said, and he grinned, because she'd named the rarest commodity in rooms like this, attention without performance. As he left, Amelia closed her laptop and turned a fraction toward Olivia. "There's a dinner tonight," she said. "Fundraising, cameras." Nathaniel wasn't going. Olivia didn't react, only waited for the part that mattered. "Now he might," Amelia continued. "The regulator's boss will be there, so will 3 people who can help us reroute without bleeding. The problem is," she glanced at the chair and not at it at the same time, "optics." Olivia considered. "If he goes, We make the narrative unstealable. Not pity, not theater, purpose. She wrote purpose on the board and circled it. We set one beat we want the cameras to carry, and we give them nothing else. What beat? Marcus asked. Work as design, Olivia said. We show the cart. We show the system. We show that leadership isn't a body, it's a pattern. We turn the chair from a story into a tool. Amelia's mouth did the almost smile again. You're good at this. It's my niche, Olivia said lightly, and for once meant the capital N. Nathaniel listened, then nodded once. If we go to work, not to be looked at. Then we go, Amelia said. Olivia capped the marker. I'll need 20 minutes with comms. And, Nathaniel asked. And 5 with you, she said, not lowering her eyes. Off the record. I need to know the part of the story you won't say into a microphone so I don't accidentally step on it. A flicker surprise that wasn't hostile. He glanced at Amelia. She gave a near-invisible nod. Marcus shifted his weight, as if bracing for a gust that might not come. 5 minutes, Nathaniel said. Now. They rolled into the smaller office adjacent to the conference room, the one with the window that stared at the river like an unanswered question. Marcus stayed by the door, a quiet sentry. Olivia didn't sit. She didn't lean on the desk. She kept the space honest. I don't need your medical history, she said. I need the rule you live by, that you'll never post on a wall. Nathaniel studied her. Whatever test this was, it wasn't the kind you pass by charming the grader. At last he said, I don't pretend the body I have next year will make me more legitimate than the body I have today. Olivia's throat tightened. She hadn't expected the sentence to be that clean. Then I won't pretend either, she said. At dinner, we build around work. Not redemption arcs. Not a miracle cure that isn't coming. Good, he said. Then he added, softer, people keep asking when I'll be back. They mean walking. I am back. I never left. She met his eyes. Then we'll teach them new grammar. He was tranking self. He breathed once, like the air had widened. Anything else? One more, she said. If someone tries to make tonight about you proving something, who do you want it to be about instead? He didn't hesitate. My people. Then we showcase them, Olivia said. We give the cameras a reason to pan away from the hero shot. He nodded. Done. They rejoined the others. The city had turned brighter, then slightly hazy, as if the day were smudging at the edges. The board held its messy second spine. The cart sat like a practical thesis. The hour bled into afternoon. On her way past him, Olivia leaned just close enough for only him to hear. You don't have to carry the room's story and your body at the same time, she whispered. Let the system do the heavy lifting. You do the deciding. He went very still, not offended, not flattered. Breathless, for a heartbeat, the way a person gets when someone names the thing they've been shouldering without language. Then he nodded the smallest, most sovereign nod, and the weather in the room shifted again, back to work. Afternoons inside powerful companies have a particular kind of gravity. They don't hum like mornings or cool like evenings. They lean. You feel the day tipping forward, and either you ride the tilt or it rides you. Olivia decided to surf. Comms in 5, she said, glancing at the clock. We'll set the dinner narrative, the beats, the visuals. Purpose over pity, work over theater. Amelia gathered her laptop and a pen that looked expensive enough to sign treaties. Let's bring Leah, she said, head of comms. She hates when we say spin, and I respect that. Good, Olivia said. We're not spinning. We're naming. Marcus checked the corridor. Leah's in the bullpen. He tipped his head toward the hive of desks beyond the glass. I'll bring her. Thank you, Olivia said. She wiped the board again, third spine of the day, and sketched a new frame labeled Dinner. Under it, she layered 4 bullets. Message, moment, camera, exit. Nathaniel watched, quiet as ever. If leadership had a pulse, his was a low drum, steady, low frequency, felt more than heard. He drifted closer to the board, as if proximity sharpened the edges of his thoughts. Maybe it did. Leah arrived with a quick gait and a face that looked like it had turned down 100 bad ideas without bruising anyone's ego. You pulled me, she said, half to Amelia, half to the room. We're considering the fundraiser tonight, Amelia said. Optics. Message. We need you early. Leah's eyes landed on the board, scanned the 4 bullets, and relaxed a hair. You've already answered my first 3 questions, she said to Olivia. The 4th is audience. It is active. 2 audiences, Olivia said. External cameras, donors, regulators, the internet. Internal, the people who keep this place from face-planting while we give speeches. Leah nodded. Internal first. Otherwise the external becomes a costume. Exactly. Olivia drew a small box under moment. Internal beat. At 6:10 p.m., just before the room breaks into small talk, Nathaniel thanks Ops by name. Not a laundry list, 3 people, 1 line each about work they did this week that matters. No adjectives, just nouns and verbs. Names? Leah asked. Pick on merit, Amelia said, decisive. 1 from manufacturing, 1 from support, 1 from compliance, and no preening. We're not auditioning for Ted. Hander. And. Leah typed. External. We give them a frame so strong they can't accidentally invent one, Olivia said. Work as design. System over myth. We foreground the cart. We show the mobile HQ like a prototype. We do not hide the chair. We also don't make it the protagonist. Leah's mouth twitched, almost a smile. I can use that. Where do you want the image? On the move, Olivia said. No staged dais shot. We enter through the service corridor. The camera catches a rolling moment, Nathaniel mid-conversation with Amelia about an operations detail that means nothing to a casual viewer and everything to the people who know. The visual says, working, not posing. Step and repeat? Leah asked. The dread of all comms people embedded in the phrase, we pass by, Amelia said. If asked to pose, we do 1 frame, no lingering. And we give them the beat, Olivia added. Nathaniel, we're here to talk about how you build organizations that work at human scale. Full stop. Then we move. Leah considered. Pull quotes? 2, Olivia said. 1 for print, 1 for broadcast. Print. Leadership is a pattern, not a personality. Broadcast. We don't do miracles. We do systems that don't break people. Leah typed, then looked up at Nathaniel. Comfortable with that? He studied the words like he was fitting them against a blueprint only he could see. Yes, he said. And if someone asks about timelines, you answer with constraints, Olivia said. Time, money, trust. We're spending 2 to protect the 3rd. It's concrete without being defensive. Leah breathed out. All right. Send me the names for internal thank yous. I'll pre-clear with their managers so nobody gets blindsided. Elena? Amelia asked. On it, Elena said from the doorway, already a step ahead, like she'd built a parallel track and invited them onto it. Leah turned to leave, then doubled back, eyes on the cart. You mind if I borrow this idea post-event? Leadership cart might be a thing. Olivia grinned. It's a system, not a prop. But sure, document the pattern, not the personality. Leah saluted with her notebook and vanished. Close, Amelia said, as if the word tasted like inconvenience. If we're going, and we are, you need a suit that doesn't read as contrition. I have suits, Nathaniel said, a shade dry. Whole closets, remember me. This isn't about memory, Amelia said. It's about a cut that aligns with the message. Spare, precise, unfussy. No sheen, no apology. Olivia glanced at Marcus. You know what works for his shoulders and seated line? I do, Marcus said. Matte wool, soft roll lapel, shorter jacket so the hem doesn't bunch. Dark charcoal, not funeral black. Great, Olivia said. 1 ask. No pocket square, it photographs like theater. A simple tie, subtle texture. Nathaniel's mouth allowed the smallest smirk. I like that you say 1 ask and then layer 5. Momentum is a currency, she said. I spend it efficiently. A ping vibrated the air. Marcus checked his phone. Greenwell confirmed a review slot 50 minutes. Priya's team wants the penalty clause now. Draft is in your inbox, Elena said, raising a hand. Legal added teeth without venom. It hurts us if we miss. It reassures them we won't. Send, Amelia said. And copy me. Blake reappeared at the door with the sort of timing that could be coincidence, but rarely is. Heard we're recording cameras, he said. Tell me there's a bar. Bar and guardrails. Leah's voice floated in from the hall. Relax, Blake, we're not letting your metaphors out unchaperoned. He set a palm on the doorframe and looked at Nathaniel. You sure you want the circus? I want the work, Nathaniel said. The circus is noise. Blake's smile flicked to Olivia. You keep moving things where they should have been in the first place. Compliment. Warning. Both. Thank you, she said, taking it at face value and refusing the hidden contract behind it. Blake slid into a chair. Since I'm now captive, he said, I'll do a half-hour with ops on the reroute numbers. If we're going to bleed, I want to choose the vein. Arterial is drama, Olivia said dryly. Capillary bleeds are sustainable. He laughed. Fine. We'll bruise. By 3, the building had accepted its new rhythm the way a city accepts detours. Some annoyance, some delight, a surprising number of people secretly grateful someone finally drew a map that matched the streets. Olivia's cart had become a symbol of unpretentious order. People started parking their chaos near it, as if proximity to a system could teach their work better manners. Call from the school, Elena said, appearing at the cart with a soft caution that told Olivia she'd already triaged the interruption and decided it mattered. Your son's teacher. Olivia's stomach did a quick maternal drop. Patch it. A moment later, a kind voice filled the small speaker. Hi, Miss Ward. This is Miss Sheridan. Evan forgot his jacket again and tried to convince me the weather is character building. I think that phrase belongs to an adult. Olivia pinched the bridge of her nose, smile cracking open despite the exhaustion. It belongs to his mother. I'm sorry. He's fine, the teacher said, warmth steady. But he also turned in math homework that was, let's say, aspirational. Olivia's eyes closed briefly. He rushed it? He wanted to make a map of the bus routes instead, Miss Sheridan said, amusement threading through. He asked if he could optimize transfers. Olivia exhaled a laugh that felt like relief wearing a disguise. I'll talk to him. Thank you for calling. We're good. He's a great kid, Miss Sheridan said. Also, he told me you run the city's schedules. If true, I'm grateful. I run a small corner, Olivia said. I'll send a jacket in his backpack tomorrow. They hung up. Olivia set the phone down gently, the way you set down a glass on a table when you're trying not to wake a sleeping house. Everything okay? Marcus asked, his voice pitched to concern without pity. Evan wants to optimize buses more than fractions, Olivia said. I can't decide whether to be proud or terrified. Both is parenting, Marcus said. So I'm told. Before she could reply, Nathaniel spoke, not looking up from the tablet. We can build him a transfer problem from our floor plan. Olivia blinked. What? He kept scrolling, tone casual. Left wing to right wing in under 7 minutes, avoiding the potted jungle and the executive drift zones. It's all constraints and routes. You can turn that into fractions without lying. The way he said, without lying, landed like a kindness. He didn't expect anyone to notice. It told a story. Somewhere, sometime, someone had told him, you teach kids by pretending the world is simpler than it is. He preferred honesty scaled to size. I'll take you up on that, Olivia said, voice warmer than she meant to let it be. Thank you. He nodded once. A private exchange logged and archived. At 3:30, the regulator's office sent a written summary request, the kind that can become a trap if you treat it like a formality. Leah and Amelia flanked Olivia at the cart, like a small war council reading a treaty draft. They're asking for material changes, Leah said, ambiguous on purpose. We define the material, Amelia replied. We'll list the 3 we know are real. We will not list hypothetical contingencies. They turn into cudgels later. Plain English, Olivia said, writing. Short sentences. Verbs first. We are rerouting lines A and C to Facility East. We are purchasing component X from a secondary supplier at Y% premium for Z weeks. We are maintaining all existing safety protocols without exceptions. Leah tapped the screen. Add a line. We will not reduce inspection frequency or scope. It preempts the laziest question. Done, Olivia said. Signatory? Amelia looked at Nathaniel. He considered, then shook his head. Amelia signs, he said. The office is accountable. The operator speaks. Amelia didn't flinch at the weight. Send it, she told Elena. Elena dispatched the email like a clean arrow. Now we prep for the Greenwell slot, Amelia said, pivoting. Marcus, pull the last 3 quality reports. Leah, scrub a 1-pager for Priya with the penalty clause and milestones. Blake. I know, Blake said. Numbers without adjectives. Bless you, Leah muttered. They moved like parts of a machine that had decided to be aligned. In the swirl, Olivia felt a small pang in her ribs, the kind you get when your life expands and the old walls creak. She flicked a glance at the clock and did the math she always did in her head. Daycare pickup times, bus frequency, the cost of a car after 6 p.m. She could ask her neighbor to cover, but not 3 days in a row. Today was day 2. She stole 15 seconds and texted, running late. Can you grab Evan if I miss the 6:10? I owe you a week of dog walks. A bubble? Got him. Don't worry. He told me we're inefficient at snack time. Olivia smiled. Her son was going to be either a planner or a rebel. Maybe both. Miss Ward, Blake said from across the room. Care to translate these ops charts into human? She rolled the cart over. The charts were, predictably, full of confident lies made of beautiful lines. She picked up a pen. This axis, she said, circling, pretends time is linear. It isn't. This one pretends risk is a cliff when it's a slope. And whoever chose this color palette believes pain should be pretty. Guilty, Leah said from the doorway. I like pretty pain. Same, Blake grinned. Can you fix it? I can, Olivia said, but I'm not going to do it here. We need a version for external and a version for people who actually fix things. The external gets 3 lines and a story. The internal gets the ugly truth. Make the ugly, Amelia said. We'll keep it in the room. Olivia drew 2 notes. External 3 lines. Internal, ugly truth. All right. External story. We're trading cash for certainty and time for trust. Internal truth. We're going to take a productivity hit on week 2 because the learning curve pretends it's a day, but it's actually 4. We budget for 4. Blake nodded, reluctantly impressed. You're unreasonably good at this. It's my niche, she said, almost deadpan. He laughed. By 4:30, the Greenwell review call began. Priya joined from a car, city blurring past her window. A Greenwell VP named Chen dialed in from an office that looked like a furniture catalog's idea of competence. Let's be efficient, Chen said. We have a narrow window. We'll use it, Amelia said, sliding into the pocket with the ease of a person who didn't need to perform ease. We want a short-notice retool for component X. We will pay the premium and commit to your quality protocol, not ours. And when you miss? Chen asked, bored and sharp all at once. Olivia held up a page to the camera. Penalty clause, 1 line, big font. We won't. If we do, the penalty hurts us more than you. Chen glanced down. Read. The man did not blink much. When he did now, it meant something slightly melted. Who wrote this? Office of the CEO, Elena said crisply. We believe in teeth. Chen's mouth curved. Not a smile respects smaller cousin. Fine. I'll slot you for a provisional pending inspection. Thank you, Priya said. I'll shepherd on our side. They hung up with the unceremonious efficiency of people who have no patience for victory laps. Amelia exhaled. That buys us 6 days. 6 days is a lifetime if you tell the truth at hour 0, Olivia said. Nathaniel turned his chair an inch, the movement almost imperceptible. And if you lie, you buy an hour and spend a year, she said, not looking away. A soft rap on the glass. Security. A woman in a dark blazer with a cadence that said she knew how to say no without using the word. Miss Ward? Your note about the service corridor, we're aligned. We'll keep it clear from 5:40 to 6:15. One thing, there's a film crew setting up near the loading dock. Documentary? Leah asked, palm halfway to her forehead. Promo reel, security said. Different nonprofit. Can we nudge them 10 feet? Olivia asked. We need a clean line, not for secrecy, for safety. Already done, security said. Also nice plan, most people use that corridor like a dare and then blame us. Olivia smiled. We'd rather treat you like oxygen. Security grinned. I'll take it. Hey, said Sean. 5 o'clock began its slow exhale toward evening. The building's soundscape changed shoes, shifted from hurry to purpose, voices from meeting to moving. The city outside the glass, folded in light, steel turning softer on its edges. 15-minute pre-brief, Olivia said, tapping the cart, the board, the clock, the room. Then we move. Comms, ops, security, Marcus, Amelia, Elena, circle up. They formed a small ring around the cart. It was not grand. It did not feel like a war council or a pep rally. It felt like a group of competent people agreeing on what time meant. Beat 1, Olivia said. Entry, service corridor. Leah leads the camera placement conversation. Security guards the corridor like it's a living artery. Marcus and I manage the body physics turns, thresholds, eye lines. Marcus nodded. I'll call the elevator early. The right one. The left one thinks it's a park ride. Beat 2, Olivia continued. Internal names. Amelia hands Nathaniel a card with 3 names and sentences. No adjectives. He speaks them to the room before it fragments. If anyone asks him to share a personal journey, he says, "We're here to do work," and redirects. Leah smiled. I'll plant a question with a friendly reporter. What system change are you most proud of this week? Beat 3, Olivia said. The exit. We leave before the narrative gets sloppy. Not rude, precise. Beat 4, Amelia added. Back here by 8:30. Debrief. No champagne. Coffee, Marcus suggested. Tea, Elena countered. Fine, Amelia said. Hot liquid. They dispersed to prepare. Olivia lingered a second by the board, eyes on the word truth. She was not naive. Truth in business is not a confessional, it's an operating condition. But it is still the bravest thing in the room when money wants a costume. Miss Ward, Nathaniel said from her shoulder, the closeness smaller than it felt. Do you ever get tired of holding the room together by the corners? She turned. All the time. The trick is building a room that holds itself. And when it can't? Then we do what we did today, she said. We turn chaos into a teacher. We build a cart. We draw a spine. He studied her face as if looking for the hairline cracks most people conceal under charm. She let him look. She wasn't selling a myth, just a method. Okay, he said softly. Let's go teach. The service corridor smelled faintly of lemon cleaner and secrets nobody bothered to keep. Pipes hummed overhead like low, willing music. Security fanned out without fanfare, the way people do when they are good at their jobs and don't require an audience. Leah walked ahead, talking quietly to a cameraman whose good intentions were larger than his awareness of spatial physics. You'll get a better shot 2 steps back, she said, gesturing. You'll also not collide with the CFO's left hip. Everyone wins. Marcus called the elevator with the same patience he applied to the day. No prayers, just timing. The doors opened on cue. Olivia positioned the cart at an angle that made the initial turn graceful, not abrupt. She looked at Nathaniel. Ready? He nodded once. No theatrics, no inhalement for the camera. Just a person showing up to do a job in a body that didn't match anyone else's narrative but his own. They rolled. The corridor turned into a narrow antechamber, and then into the back of a ballroom lit in that expensive glow designed to flatter donors and disguise bad coffee. Voices swelled and then thinned as people noticed without trying to look like they were noticing. A woman with a microphone stepped toward them. Leah materialized. A velvet stop sign. We'll do one on the way out, she murmured, and the woman, reading professionalism as confidence, stepped aside with grace she wouldn't have offered to someone apologizing. Amelia handed Nathaniel the card without looking. He took it without breaking pace. Olivia adjusted the tablet's angle without announcement. Marcus scanned the room, mapping the gentle turbulence of human bodies in motion. They reached the center. No dais, no spotlight, just an opening in the hum. Nathaniel lifted his head not to command, but to align. "Before we scatter," he said, voice level, carrying without strain, "3 people kept us honest this week." Silence, the good kind, poured a path. Lan Nguyen in manufacturing found a tolerance drift late at night and didn't let the machine tell her the truth was close enough. She shut it down. "We rerouted instead of pretending. That's how we do safety." A small gasp from the left. Lan's manager's eyes went bright. Samuel Ortiz, in support, built a shorter feedback loop with a client who could have killed our entire Friday. He asked for the real problem, not the polite one. That's how we do service. In the back, a man's shoulders squared an inch, surprise and pride meeting in the middle. And Arya Patel, in compliance, rewrote a process in plain English so people could follow it under stress. That's how we do trust. There was no applause. Then there was. Because the room decided with its hands that certain kinds of sentences deserve noise. A camera lifted. Leah allowed it 1 frame. The flash washed the air and then was gone. Nathaniel did not linger. He turned to the donor nearest him and asked a question about a scholarship pipeline, like he already knew the answer, but wanted the person to hear themselves say it. The donor smiled like she'd been invited to do something specific, not vague. Olivia watched the narrative settle like a sheet shaken once over a bed and laid flat. It wasn't perfect. Nothing that breathes is. But it fit. A man she recognized from the regulator's office drifted near the periphery, hands in pockets, face interested and neutral. Not the boss, the aide. Olivia caught his eye and offered him the universal, "Do you need help not looking lost?" half smile. He smiled back, grateful for the permission not to perform. "You were right," he said softly, as if finishing a conversation they hadn't had. "The written summary helps my boss be brave." "We try to make bravery easy," Olivia said. "Hard work's busy." He huffed a laugh. "I'll remember that." "Please do," she said, and meant it. At 6:28, Leah looked at Olivia. Olivia looked at Amelia. Amelia looked at Nathaniel. They had all learned a shared language in a day. It was mostly nods. "Exit?" Olivia asked. "Exit," Nathaniel said. They reversed the path. Cameras tried to lengthen the moment like taffy. Leah cut it clean with a word. Security opened the artery. Marcus timed the elevator like a dance move. The doors sighed shut on the exact soundtrack of a room deciding to respect boundaries. Inside the elevator, there was quiet. Not the awkward kind, the earned kind. That, Leah said, was a master class in not stepping on your own message. No miracles, Amelia said, smiling with her eyes. Just systems. Olivia leaned against the cart for the first time since noon and let herself feel the ache in her calves. "And people," she said. "Don't forget people." Nathaniel looked at her, not past her, not around her. At her. "I don't," he said. The doors opened into the service corridor again. Pipes hummed, air cooled, work resumed. Back upstairs, the whiteboard waited with its spine and its ribs and its insistence on being honest about what time meant. Amelia brewed tea, then made a face and added honey like a truce. Marcus poured coffee that tasted like stubbornness. Leah collapsed into a chair like a cat that had decided she owned it. Olivia recapped her pen, slid it into the cart's rail, and let her phone buzz in her palm. A text from her neighbor. "Got Evan. He designed a better snack line. You owe me 3 cookies and a podcast recommendation." She smiled, the kind that tightens your eyes because it comes from somewhere unguarded. "Debrief," Amelia said, placing a mug on the cart's top shelf like an offering. 3 truths. 1 risk. No fluff. "Truth," Leah started, fingers up. "The message held because we gave it bones." Truth 2. Internal recognition inoculated us against cynicism. Truth 3. The chair was in the frame without being the frame. Risk. Marcus said. Greenwell's inspection window is narrow. If we trip, we need a plan B that isn't prayer. Truth, Blake said, strolling in with a document like an encore. Ops can absorb the reroute bruise if finance stops pretending. Bruises cost zero. Risk, Elena added, is fatigue. People are sprinting. Tomorrow they will still be here. They looked at Nathaniel. Leadership is sometimes speaking. Sometimes it's choosing what to multiply. We pace, he said. We reward the right pain. We don't buy calm with confusion. He paused. And we build rooms that hold themselves. Olivia felt something unlock in her chest, small, strong, the click a key makes when it belonged to the lock all along. Then we're doing it, she said, more to the board than the room. One spine at a time. The building exhaled. The city leaned into evening. Somewhere, in a classroom where a boy thought about buses and transfers, a map waited to be drawn. And just as they settled into the fragile peace a long day can earn, Elena's phone lit up with a message that would tug the entire map half an inch in the wrong direction. She looked up. We have a problem, she said. The room lifted its head, like a single animal. What kind? Amelia asked. The kind with a name, Elena answered, and a microphone. The message on Elena's screen was short, almost polite. That was always the worst sign. She angled the phone so the room could see without crowding. A notification banner, the kind most people swipe away out of habit. Elena didn't swipe. Mara Quinn, she said. Leah's chair stopped mid-tilt the way a cat's ears go still when it hears a sound you can't. Where? Live segment, Elena read. Tonight, 8 p.m. Title, Speed, Safety, and the Story We Tell Ourselves. The teaser says she'll examine claims that Cross and Devellin quietly relaxed inspection protocols under pressure. Leah's humor drained by degrees. Claims from whom? Anonymous source, Elena said. Attached is a screenshot of an internal memo. Amelia held out a hand. Elena passed the phone. Amelia read fast, the way surgeons move, no wasted motion. This memo is from last year, she said. 2 quarters ago. We rejected it. Leah rubbed her temple. But she has a screenshot, and the internet cannot tell time. Nathaniel said nothing. He didn't need to. The silence arranged itself around him like a task. Olivia stepped to the board and wrote 2 words in block letters. Timeline, receipts. Then, beneath them, who benefits. Okay, she said, voice even. No panic, no performance. We're going to get specific. Elena, pull the full memo chain original draft. Comments, final disposition. I want the version history with timestamps and the names of who signed no. Amelia. Who wrote the rejection line? I did, Amelia said. She didn't add that she had written it at 1 a.m. with a pen that scratched and a headache that had laughed at aspirin. She didn't need to. Great, Olivia said. We'll use your sentence. Leah, reach out to Quinn's producer. Offer 5 minutes on the record with a single condition. We answer with documents, not adjectives. He's after. Leah's phone was already in her hand. She hates being handled. So do I. This is not handling, this is context. Fine. Marcus, Olivia said. Find me the person with motive. Who sat on that memo after we rejected it? Whose incentive points toward making us look like liars tonight? Marcus nodded once. Finding motives was just a different kind of logistics. Me? Nathaniel asked. Not defiant. Practical. What do you need from me? Olivia met his eyes. You, on camera, for 90 seconds, with a sentence that refuses the premise without turning Quinn into the enemy. After we put the receipts where the world can see them. Leah's eyebrows climbed. You want us to publish the chain? We sanitize personal details, Olivia said, and we publish the decision-making, the whole thing. People will scream about nuance, and then they'll quiet because the receipts are boring, and boring is trust. Blake, who had slid in during the last 10 seconds on a breeze of cologne and plausible deniability, leaned against the door frame. Or, he said lazily, we ignore it and let the cycle burn out in 24 hours. Amelia lifted an eyebrow at him like a finely tuned warning system. He lifted his hands. I'm playing the role of the guy who doesn't like receipts, he said. Your villain needs lines. Our villain is fatigue, Leah said. And time zones. Let's win against both, Olivia said. She wrote a quick frame on the board. 6/6/20. Retrieve docs. Build timeline. 6/26/40. Producer call. Set terms. 6/47/00. Draft on record statement. 7/7/30. Legal scrub redaction. 7/30. Publish receipts. Cite plus pinned threads. 7/45. Pre-brief. Nathaniel. 8:00. Segment goes live. 8:05. On record, 90 seconds, then we exit the discourse. Question, Leah said. If Quinn refuses our condition documents, not adjectives? Then we publish anyway, Olivia said. We're not negotiating with a camera, we're serving our people. Nathaniel gave a single, steady nod. Elena's laptop chimed. I have the chain, she said. Drafted by procurement. Escalated to ops. Bounced to compliance. Escalated to Amelia. Rejected. Here. She rotated the screen. A paragraph lit up in the grayscale of old decisions. Amelia's note, dated and stamped, was clean. Inspection frequency is not a throttle to pull under pressure. Build slack elsewhere or lose trust we can't buy back. Leah whistled softly. I want that on a t-shirt. Frame it like a policy principle, Olivia said. We're not weaponizing Amelia. We're naming how we think. Who sent the memo to Quinn? Marcus asked. Forward chain ends at someone in finance, Elena said. An analyst named Everett Sharp flagged a cost model suggesting we could temporarily reduce his phrase, the inspection cadence. He was overruled. Weeks later, he emailed a friend at Greenwell complaining about a culture of stubbornness. Greenwell? Amelia's eyes narrowed. We're courting their retool window right now. Priya, Olivia said softly. She's our door. She's not the leak. She's not, Marcus agreed. But Greenwell is a building full of people. And if Sharp is nursing resentment, he may think stubbornness equals the boss doesn't listen to numbers. Numbers are a language, Nathaniel said, not a deity. So we translate, Olivia said. And we do it in public. It's no. They split by instinct. Elena and Amelia fell into the archive, surfacing with timestamps, names, and the kind of dull clarity that makes lies slip. Marcus went hunting for Everett Sharp, returning 5 minutes later with a summary no one enjoyed. Brilliant, impatient, a mind that treated constraints as personal insults, not malicious, just bored with friction. Leah reached Quinn's producer on the third ring. She put it on speaker with careful permission. Leah Baum, head of comms, Cross, and Devlin. Dana Rivers, a voice said, all edges filed smooth by years of deadlines. You've seen the teaser. We have. We'd like to give you documentation that answers the claim. Unredacted except for personal contact details. A pause. You want to dump docs into our segment? We want the truth to carry less weight, Leah said. In your hands or ours. We prefer yours. Another pause, longer, the sound of a producer asking herself if she was being staged. And Cross? 90 seconds on the record, after the documents. No adjectives. He won't call you names. He'll define a principle. Principle, Dana repeated, tasting the word. People at home like villains. They like receipts when the villain is boredom, Olivia said, stepping into the audio like a ghost the producer hadn't invited. I'm the office of the CEO. We'll publish whether you take them or not. We're asking you to choose the version of journalism that sleeps at night. Dana didn't bristle. The good ones don't. They bristle later in private if they must. Send me the chain, she said. I'll decide in 10. Leah killed the speaker and looked at Olivia. You didn't threaten, she said. You flattered. I told the truth, Olivia said. Journalists like being the person their profession thinks they are. Leah's eyes softened. We all do. At 6:37, legal arrived and did what good legal teams do: make courage precise. They scrubbed email addresses, left names, circled 2 sentences to contextualize where a reader might get lost, and left the rest alone. No spin, just boring truth, rendered in a format that could survive a screenshot. At 6:44, Dana texted, "We'll take it. Doc's in the first third, Cross in the second. If he attacks us, we cut him. If he stays clean, he teaches a thing." Leah grinned. "We got the teacher version." "Send it," Amelia said. Elena's fingers flew. The documentation left their building and entered the bloodstream of the internet, where good-faith readers and clout chasers mingle like neighbors at a barbecue they both regret. At 7:02, the receipts were live on Cross and Devlin's site under a plain header: Inspection Protocol Decision, Q2, last year, full chain. The page layout was indecently boring. It looked like what it was. "Statement," Olivia said, turning to Nathaniel. "Say it to me." No bow, no drumroll. He lifted his gaze without lifting his chin. "Inspections are not optional. Slowing them down under pressure buys us time today at the price of trust tomorrow. We don't borrow from the future to lie to the present." "Shorter," Olivia said, ruthless and kind. "Inspections don't flex when we're scared," he said. "We flex budget and timelines, not trust." "Good," she said. "Now add a sentence for the workers who carry that protocol when executives are asleep." He nodded once. "And we do it, because the people on our floors deserve to go home with all their fingers and all their pride." Leah swallowed. "That will make someone cry," she said, in a good way. "Then they can cry," Amelia said. "We will not." Olivia checked the clock. 7:45, 10-minute pre-brief. They took the smaller office again. Not to stage, to breathe. "Nathaniel," Olivia said, "Dana will try to pull you into a narrative about performative leadership. Don't let her. If she asks whether the chair changes how you lead, answer with a verb, not a noun." He half smiled. "What verb? Bribe?" "By is, teach," Olivia said. "Or build." He nodded. "Not prove. Never prove," she said. "Proof is a performance. Teaching is a system." He laughed once, short and real. "Teach them new grammar," he echoed back her own words from earlier, like he'd held them in his pocket all afternoon. "I'm trying." "You are," she said. "You don't have to try alone." For the first time in a long day, he let the steadiness slip and showed her the edge of the effort. Not theatrics, not confession, just a man acknowledging the weight of being looked at. "Okay," he said finally, settling the weight again where it lived. "Let's go be boring." At 7:58, the newsroom lights on Quinn's set flared like a storm at sea that had decided to stand still. Blue, white, the tasteful intimacy of expensive skepticism. The open ran with footage of factories and hands and a graph that went up and to the right because graphs think they're obligated to. Quinn appeared over the shoulder of the narration, with that face the internet trusts more than it should, sharp, amused, morally allergic to nonsense. "Tonight," she said, "what happens when speed meets safety, and a company tells itself a story about both?" Leah watched the segment with her head tilted at the exact angle of a hawk. Amelia watched like a chess player memorizing patterns. Marcus stood by the door as if the television could try to enter and he would politely ask it for ID. Elena hovered near the cart, hands folded, saint of timestamps. On screen, Quinn's voice turned practical. An internal memo, obtained by our newsroom, suggested reducing inspection frequency under pressure. That was last year. Cross and Devlin says it rejected the memo and published the full chain tonight. Here it is. The receipts filled the screen. Dates, names, comments, the sentence Amelia had left, like a blade set down carefully on a table. Quinn let it sit for a beat longer than the producers would have if she'd been unsure. Then she said, "Joining us now, Cross and Devlin founder and CEO, Nathaniel Cross." Nathaniel appeared on their monitor in one of those half-boxes, at once too large and too small. He gave Quinn the same attention he gave rooms without cameras. "Mr. Cross," Quinn began, courteous, not friendly. Did your company relax inspection protocols under pressure? No, he said. No flourishes. We don't flex inspections when we're scared. We flex budgets and timelines. Not trust. Quinn pivoted. Executives often say that until the quarter gets tight. Executives say a lot of things, he said. We published our decision chain. You can see who wrote what and when. The person who said no is the operator responsible for the outcome. That's how it should work. You mean your sister, Quinn said, a small glint in her eye that asked if this was a family business cosplaying as governance. Yes, he said, no defensiveness. She runs strategy. She said no. I agreed. And the people on our floors went home with all their fingers and all their pride. Quinn's mouth did something complicated, respect arguing with reluctance to be charmed. So why did someone leak the memo? People leak for 3 reasons, he said. They want to help, they want to hurt, or they want to be heard. I don't know which this was. I know our job is to build a system that makes help easy, harm costly, and being heard the rule, not the exception. Silence. Then Quinn nodded, almost imperceptibly. And the chair? She asked, as if getting it out for viewers who would ask in her inbox if she didn't. It's a chair, he said. It doesn't change the work. The work is teaching an organization to keep its promises under stress. Quinn looked at him for a breath that held 1,000 possible edits. Thank you for your time, she said. The segment cut back to a graphic about other companies in other messes. The room exhaled. Leah turned, a rare grin loosening her face. No adjectives, she said. God bless us, everyone. Heavy my teacher. Amelia drank tea she'd forgotten she made. We need to prepare for the next leak. Boredom makes villains. Then we keep telling boring truth, Olivia said, relentlessly. Nathaniel's phone buzzed. He glanced, then handed it to Olivia without comment. A text from Priya. Greenwell saw the segment. Your receipts bought you goodwill. Their inspector says, and I quote, at least someone still publishes the unsexy parts. Olivia handed the phone back, smiling. Cruelty speed with conscience, she said. We might just thread this. Marcus's phone buzzed next. He read, then looked at Olivia. Everett Sharp wants to talk. As a whistleblower? Leah snapped, reflex wincing. As a person, Marcus said. He says, I thought no one listened unless I shouted. Olivia rolled the card a half-inch, the gesture she made when a moment needed a new center. Bring him up, she said. We'll give him a chair. She caught herself, glanced at Nathaniel, and added, a metaphorical one. The kind where people are heard without needing a microphone. Nathaniel's mouth did the almost smile again. Bring him, he said. Everett was younger than the bitterness of his emails, wearier than his title. He started with his hands. They apologized before his mouth did. I didn't mean to, he began. Olivia held up a palm. Let's name what you meant, she said. Then we'll name what happened. He swallowed. I meant to make someone pay attention to the fact that money doesn't grow on the side of the building just because you want it to. Amelia nodded. True. I meant, he said, that we pretend constraints are moral failures. If I can model a cheaper way, I'm the bad guy. You're not the bad guy, Olivia said. You offered a lever. We decided not to pull that lever because the cost was hidden. That doesn't make the lever evil. It makes it wrong today. He met her eyes, surprised at the dignity in the sentence. I shouldn't have sent it out. No, Nathaniel said. But I'm glad the system made your whisper fail. It means we need a place to put it. Everett blinked. A place? A public one, Amelia said, already spinning up a scaffolding in her head that would be a policy by morning. A forum where smart levers go to be evaluated in the open, not to be shamed, to be read. Leah nodded, a little dazzled. We'll call it the Ugly Truth List. Submissions are not binding. Decisions are transparent, boring on purpose. Everett's shoulders dropped an inch. I can live with boring? Good, Olivia said. Because tonight we made boring our brand. He laughed first, the startled kind, then the relieved kind. I'm sorry, he said, now that it was safe to say. Thank you, Amelia said. Not because the apology changed anything, but because she believed in closing loops. When Everett left, the room sagged in that honest way people do when adrenaline begins to slink away and leaves you with your bones. Elena glanced at the clock. 8:30, she said. We said debrief. 3 truths, 1 risk, Amelia recited, because rituals build rooms that hold themselves. Go. Truth, Leah said. We're faster than the narrative if we decide to be. Truth 2. Receipts beat personality. Truth 3. The public can handle boring if you hand it to them without apology. Risk, Marcus said. Fatigue, still. The crew needs a Sunday. It might. We'll buy one, Nathaniel said. We'll pay in meetings we cancel. Olivia leaned her hip against the cart, the only indulgence she'd allowed it all day. Truth, she said. Systems teach people how to treat each other. Today we taught ours to listen before it shouted. They let the quiet sit until it cooled into a kind of peace. Then Olivia's phone buzzed. A photo from her neighbor, Evan at a kitchen table, tongue tucked to one side in concentration, drawing a map in pencil that looked suspiciously like a floor plan with arrows. He says your building needs better transfer points, the caption read. I told him to charge consulting fees. She turned the screen so Nathaniel could see. He looked, and something in his face rearranged softer at the edges, not because he'd been flattered, but because the math of his day finally matched a human scale. Tell him, he said, we'll pay in fractions. She smiled. He'll counter with snacks. Done, he said. We're flush in protein bars. Leah stood, stretching with a groan that sounded like a violin string in need of tuning. I'm going home to watch the internet argue, she said. It calms me. Seek help, Amelia advised. Blake, who had hovered and contributed less noise than usual, lifted a hand. Before you all vanish into whatever good people do at night, nice work. He nodded at Olivia. You've made yourself dangerously indispensable. Olivia met his gaze with the friendly boundaries she wore like a well-fitted jacket. No one person is indispensable, she said. Systems are. He grinned. Keep saying that until we all believe you. I already do, she said. The room thinned. Tea mugs cooled. The whiteboard spine, smudged and stubborn, kept its place on the wall like a handrail someone had remembered to install before the stairs got steep. Olivia cleaned the board halfway and stopped. She didn't erase truth. You don't erase handrails. Marcus walked her to the elevator, not because she needed escorting, but because humans need conversation to come down from the high edges of a long day. He listened to you, Marcus said, after a stretch of comfortable nothing. He listened to the receipts, she said. I just held the cart. He pressed the elevator button and shrugged. Sometimes that's the same thing. The doors opened. She stepped in and turned. Marcus, she said, just as they started to close, thank you for trusting me with the door earlier, the one only you know how to time. He nodded, receiving the sentence like a gift wrapped in plain paper. Any time, he said. The elevator hummed. The numbers descended. Olivia looked at her reflection in the stainless steel panel. Hair a little wild, eyes a little bright. A woman who had built a day out of spines and ribs and boring courage. Her phone buzzed again. Evan, can we make a bus out of your cart? She laughed out loud, alone, and typed, yes. Tomorrow we test routes. She stepped out into the lobby where the rug lay flat, obedient. She didn't fix it this time. It didn't need her. Systems were holding. Outside, the city had turned into a million decisions dressed up as lights. Olivia zipped her jacket, texted a thank you for the pickup, and walked toward the bus stop with a pace that matched the day's last beat. Steady, precise, unfussy. Leadership, naked and true, was never a miracle. It was choices. It was teaching. It was building a room that didn't fall when one person left it. Behind her, on the 22nd floor, a CEO who refused to make his body a plotline looked at a whiteboard that said truth and thought with a clarity that felt like air. Okay, tomorrow, again. And somewhere, on a far screen flickering in the corner of a small kitchen, a journalist who had chosen the teacher version of herself for one more night closed her laptop and, perhaps, slept. Morning came in the key of rain, steady, unromantic, the kind that turns sidewalks into careful maps and teaches people whether their shoes were honest. Olivia arrived 15 minutes early, hair tucked behind her ears, the leadership cart restocked like a traveling clinic for decisions. Whiteboard scrubbed, markers that hadn't yet lied about ink, protein bars that didn't try to be dessert, a swivel arm ready for the tablet, tape for rugs because once you learn where a room fails, you stop pretending it won't. Inspection day. Greenwell's team would walk the floor at 10. If the reroute passed, Cross and Devlin bought themselves not just 6 days but a reputation credit line. If they failed, the company would be borrowing courage at predatory rates for the rest of the quarter. Reset, Olivia said to the cart. The board, the morning. She drew a new spine and named the ribs like prayer beads: inspection, flow, buffer, receipts, care. At the top, in a small box like a compass, she wrote, truth. Marcus arrived with coffee that tasted like competence and a grin that said the day might throw rocks and he would still decide which ones mattered. Security swept the inspection route, he said. No jungle. The service corridor's clear. Elevators are in a good mood. They like you, Olivia said. I flirt with their timing, he replied. Amelia walked in on a phone call that sounded like 2 calendars arguing. She ended it with a single clean sentence and dropped the phone into a pocket. Ops is ready, she said. If Greenwell wants to be impressed, we'll oblige. If they want to be suspicious, we'll oblige less. Leah swept past with a stapled one-pager titled, Boring Things We Do When We're Serious. She slapped one onto the cart. If a camera appears, they get this. No poetry, bullets only. Blake slipped in, checked his reflection in the dark glass, and plopped himself on a chair like he'd invented chairs. Finance will call after the inspection, he said, to either cheer or bleed. I'll do both without adjectives. Nathaniel rolled in last, not late exact. He wore the matte charcoal that read as work, not contrition. If he was afraid, he had domesticated it into quiet attention. Schedule us a 5-minute silence at 9:55, Olivia told Amelia, without looking away from the board. No words, no phones, the floor needs to hear itself breathe before strangers tell it what it is. Amelia nodded, curious and convinced in the same breath. Done. They began the morning like a rehearsal they had earned. Olivia walked the physical route with Marcus. Thresholds, turns, the place where the floor dips half an inch, like a memory of a fix that never came. She marked tiny X's with painter's tape at eye-level alignment points only she and Marcus would notice. They were not decorating, they were removing friction taxes. Elena arrived with a clipboard and a calm that made other people's chaos feel like it had a place to sit. Greenwell is 10 minutes early, she said. Perfect, Olivia said. We'll be ready and look like we were always ready. Everett asked where to stand, Elena added, lowering her voice. He wants to be useful without making a plot. Olivia smiled. Put him where questions land when they don't yet have a shape. If someone asks, what does this cost? He answers with scenarios, not sermons. Everett arrived in the nervous uniform of repentance, fresh shirt, new notebook, eyes trying to be smaller than the rest of him. Olivia caught him before he could apologize. You're on the ugly truth list today, she said. If the inspector asks for a worse version of the thing we're proud of, you give it to them. Courage isn't marketing. He nodded, throat tight. Yes. At 9:55 the building obeyed. Phones darkened. The floor held its breath. Machines idled in a way that felt attentive, not idle. The silence was not a performance. It was a system catching its balance. Then Greenwell arrived. 2 engineers in practical shoes and eyes that had been overpromised too many times. A VP who hid curiosity inside a frown. A young inspector with a visible notebook, freshly skeptical because that's what the job had asked of them. Chen, the VP from the call, offered a thin, professional smile. Show us your ugly. Amelia smiled back, a fractional thing that said, Welcome to our kitchen. We cooked the truth. This way. They walked. Marcus set the room's tempo the way a drummer sets a band's subtle, relentless, Olivia kept the cart a half step behind Nathaniel's right shoulder, a mobile witness, a moving archive of what mattered. Leah ghosted the perimeter, intercepting cameras before they became events. Elena made names greet one another in sentences so clean they sounded like inside jokes. At Station 1, the inspector asked to see the retooled line. A floor manager, named Lan, yes, that Lan stood beside the machine that had been her companion and adversary for 6 years. "We changed nothing about inspection frequency," she said before anyone could think to ask. "We changed buffer placement and staff rotation. We're not faster, we're less stupid." The inspector wrote something down that looked like approval hiding behind professionalism. At Station 2, a software display pretended friction was a color. Olivia ignored it and asked the operator to narrate what happens when a screen lies. He did. The inspector's visible notebook picked up speed. At Station 3, Everett stepped in when the question came. Of course it came. "What would this look like if you were cutting corners and wanted us not to see?" "I'd move this quality check downstream and rename it Post-Process Validation," Everett said, without flinching. "And I'd add a dashboard to distract you. Also, I'd wrap the change in a phrase no one wants to be caught arguing with, like agility. We're not doing that." Silence. The kind where everyone in the room remembers why they came. They made their way to the observation window where the line from Facility East flickered onto a monitor with the delayed grace of a satellite phone. The inspector compared a printout to a live feed and then to a small scratch on a physical part. She liked human fingers more than screens, you could tell. She chose them. "This is good," she said to no one and everyone. Chen didn't smile. He adjusted his frown's angle, which is how some people smile at work. "Take me to the person who wrote the sentence about inspections not being a throttle." Amelia lifted a hand. "Guilty." He looked at her like a man who speaks in tables greeting a woman who speaks in long division. "You'll hate this question," he said. "Do you ever regret the cost of saying that out loud?" "Every day," Amelia said. "Then I remember it's more expensive to be a liar." The young inspector laughed before she could stop herself. Chen's frown finally became a smile, tiny and uncontainable. "Fine," he said. "Keep walking." They did, and at each stop the story held. Not because they had hired a better storyteller, because they had built a room where the truth could stand without a microphone. At 11:30, Chen closed the loop. "Provisional passes are for people who want to think they almost failed," he said. "This is a pass. Full. With notes that make you boring in the best way." He turned to Nathaniel. "Tell your people the inspector approves of unsexy courage." Nathaniel exhaled through a smile that belonged to the floor more than to any headline. "They'll like that," he said. The engineers left. The floor resumed, not by snapping back but by settling 1 inch closer to itself, like a joint that had decided not to grind. Leah high-fived Elena with the restraint of professionals and the joy of teenagers. Marcus let the elevator doors close on a camera with the kind of politeness that makes rudeness unnecessary. Everett leaned against a pillar and finally looked like a man who might sleep. Blake appeared, somehow already holding a report. "Finance cheered," he said, then bled, then cheered again. Amelia folded the inspection notes into a file that would become an SOP by noon. "We budget for bruises," she said. "We don't perform emergency surgery on ourselves for applause." A2X Step 2, and also 18 friend. Olivia rolled the cart to the window and let herself look at the river. The rain had softened to a suggestion. The city had put on its midday gray, honest, unflattering kind. "Miss Ward," Nathaniel said from behind her, a little formal because he didn't want the moment to think it owned her. "Stay." She turned. "For lunch?" "For here," he said, a sentence that meant at least 3 things. She smiled, then sobered, because job offers are not adornments, they're contracts between futures. "What job am I taking?" "Head of the office of the CEO," he said. "Not a gatekeeper, a system builder. You'll have budget, a rotating seat at Ops and Comms, and the authority to say, 'Not like that when we get pretty,' instead of precise." "Title?" Blake asked. already ready to print a card. "Chief of Staff," Amelia said, without looking up from the notes, as if the world had always been arranged this way. "But the internal name is better. Spine." Olivia laughed, surprised into it. "That will look terrible on LinkedIn." "That's because LinkedIn prefers fairy tales," Leah said. "Comp?" Blake asked, already calculating. "Fair," Nathaniel said, and Blake nodded like the math had come out respectable. Olivia glanced at the cart, at the board, at the word truth, at the tape X's only she and Marcus could see. She thought of Evan and his maps and his snacks and the way he asked whether grown-ups had someone who watched over them at work. "I'll take it," she said. "On one condition." Amelia's mouth turned up. "There's always one." "We don't make the cart a prop," Olivia said. "We make it a pattern. We build copies. We teach new managers to roll them. We seed them in departments that confuse theater with results. And," she glanced at Everett, "we institutionalize the ugly truth list. With rotating readers and public decisions. Boring on purpose." Nathaniel didn't hesitate. "Done." "Aster." Marcus tilted his head at Olivia, a small salute. Leah handed over a pen like it belonged in a museum. Blake produced a lanyard from a dimension where lanyards always exist at the moment they should. "How does he do that?" And Elena clipped it onto the card and said, "Sign here," even though this isn't where it's signed. Olivia signed nothing and everything. A room can hold you even without paper. By mid-afternoon, the building ran on a new baseline, still fast, still sharp, now honest at the joints. The inspection notes became a living document. The ugly truth list got its first official entry from Everett, who seemed annoyingly proud that he could now be annoying in public. Security updated the service corridor plan and waved a cameraman through on the condition that he read the one-pager first. Lon returned to her machine the way a musician returns to a piano after a performance, with muscle memory and relief. At 3, Olivia did the thing she had promised herself, not the company. She stepped outside and called Evan from under the awning, where the rain signed its name on the concrete. He picked up on the second ring, breathless from being 8. "How's the bus?" he asked, skipping hello. "Passing inspection," she said. "Would you like to ride it?" "Obviously," he said, a word he had borrowed from someone on YouTube and made into a small comedy routine. "Then pack your map," she said. "We're building transfer points tonight. Payment is snacks." "I accept," he said with gravity. "But I'm also negotiating for a later bedtime." "We do not negotiate with bedtime," she said. "We negotiate with snacks." "Fine," he said. 2 snacks. 1.5, she countered. He gasped. "You are ruthless." "I am a system," she said, and he cackled, then told her about a fraction that had tried to be a lie and how he had caught it. They hung up in the middle of happiness, which is the right way to end calls when the day still needs you. She turned to go back in and found Nathaniel beside her, rain beating on the wheels like punctuation marks that refused to run. "Negotiations go well?" he asked. "I lost," she said, "which means I won." He smiled. It wasn't the almost smile. It was allowed to be a whole one. "We need to build a version of that phone call into onboarding," he said. "Teach everyone to bargain with the part of themselves that wants shortcuts." "Make it a deck," she said. 5 slides. Title, "We Don't Borrow from the Future to Lie to the Present." "Too long," he said. "Too true," she corrected. He tipped his head in surrender. "Spine," he said, testing the word as a title, an idea, a gratitude. "If you have one more whisper left for the day, spend it here." She hesitated. Then she leaned in, close enough for him to hear it and no one else. "You don't have to be the story," she said, the words like a key turning in a lock that had never been forced. "You get to be the builder. Let the rooms carry your name because they hold when you leave them." He didn't inhale dramatically. He didn't blink theatrically. He simply went still, in that way he did when something inside him rearranged itself to fit a better load-bearing shape. For a heartbeat, Breathless wasn't a metaphor. It was gratitude without air. "Okay," he said finally, quiet enough to keep the moment from thinking it needed credit. "Builder." They went back in. The next days learned. The next weeks remembered. The company made more rooms that held. Some broke, because everything does. But when breaks came, systems caught the pieces without shaming them. The cart multiplied and then, as it should, disappeared. Not because it failed, but because a good idea becomes furniture you stop noticing until it's gone. The ugly truth list went from novelty to ritual. New hires found it both terrifying and comforting, which is how you know a thing is working. Everett ran the list like a librarian who loved banned books and policy more than gossip. Lon taught a class called Close is Not the Truth. Leah launched a series of Boring Courage, notes that got shared more than the glossy stuff because the internet secretly wants to admire adults. The regulator's office sent a second note weeks later. Not praise, not a warning, just a sentence, thanking them for publishing the chain. It helps us be brave, the aide had written, and Olivia pinned it not on a wall but in a playbook. Investors stopped asking for theater and started asking better questions. A donor who had wanted the hero shot donated to an apprenticeship program instead. Blake found adjectives he didn't hate: solvent, credible, durable. Amelia built the kind of strategy that looks like humility from the outside and like engineering from the inside. Marcus kept the elevators honest. On a gray Thursday full of decisions that did not require applause, Olivia found a printed card on the cart's top shelf, no flourish, just ink. It said, "The room holds." Underneath, smaller, "Because someone built it." No signature. She knew anyway. She slipped the card into the whiteboard marker tray, where Evan would inevitably find it during a weekend visit and ask whether rooms could be buses and buses could be rooms. She'd say yes, because the joke was true. Transfer points, spines, ribs, the quiet maps people draw so other people can arrive. That weekend had a small kitchen table with pencil shavings that looked like good decisions in progress. Evan drew their building and traced routes that avoided jungles and drift zones. "We need better transfers," he said, frowning like an architect, then grinning like an 8-year-old. Also, snacks. Also, snacks. Olivia agreed. She cut an apple the way you cut ribbon at a ceremony you don't want to make grand. "You know, kiddo, sometimes grown-ups don't need someone to watch over them. They need someone to build a way for other people to watch over each other." Evan considered this, then nodded. "A bus," he said, pleased, "but with walls." "Exactly," she said. He slid the pencil into her hand. "You draw a spine," he commanded. "I'll do the ribs." She did. He did. The room held. On a late afternoon months later, rain returned with that unpoetic insistence Olivia liked because it kept the city honest. She left the office on time, not as rebellion, as policy. The rug lay flat. The service corridor hummed with pipes and secrets nobody needed to keep. In a window high above the river, a whiteboard still said "Tooth" in a corner smudged by hands that reached for it not because they were noble, but because it worked. She stepped out into a city she hadn't conquered and didn't intend to. She adjusted her jacket and matched her pace to the day's last beat. Leadership, unadorned, was never a miracle. It was a cart and a sentence, and a sister who said no at 1 a.m. It was a man who chose builder over story. It was a boy who turned buses into rooms and rooms into buses and let snacks be a currency without moral weight. At the bus stop, Olivia felt that quiet electricity again, the kind that hums before anything actually happens, when the world taps your shoulder and says, "Pay attention," not because a hero is arriving, because a system is ready. The bus pulled up with a sigh that sounded like the morning elevator making a promise. She stepped on. She held a rail someone had installed because a stranger might need it. She moved her bag so someone else could sit. Tiny, ordinary, specific. Her niche. Behind her, floors above, the builder rolled past a whiteboard, paused, and smudged a thumb across the word "tooth" as if blessing it with ordinary oils. He looked at the room that would hold after he left it and let himself smile, small and sovereign. Tomorrow would require spines and ribs and transfer points and boring courage. Tomorrow would not be a miracle. It would be work by design. And that was the story.